The Atlantic Division still very much in flux at the top and at the bottom. Highmark Stadium in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, on a day that most certainly carries additional connotation. It's the Pittsburgh Riverhounds back at home taking on Loudoun United. Mike Watts and Gary Bailey on hand for the call tonight. Gary, you take a look at the Atlantic Division right now, and Loudoun is really struggling. It's been that way all year long, but Pittsburgh with a win, pending the Tampa Bay result tonight. They could still be in first at the end.
Yeah, massive for both clubs. For Pittsburgh, as you say, they're looking at the top of the table. For Loudoun, it's about pride. It's about developing players. And to be fair to them, they're probably in the toughest division there is. The teams around them, I mean, even Hartford sitting sixth. Charleston Battery out of the playoff places as well. And those are two very good sides. So it's been tough for Loudoun United this season. Can they end it in style? That is the question.
Let's take a look at what's come between these teams this year. Couple of results here by one goal. Let's say this, however. Loudoun has one win against the Atlantic. It was against Pittsburgh.
It was. Pittsburgh have 2 wins against them. And Bob was saying to us, Bob Lilly, this is a tough team. If you catch them on the wrong day, they can hurt you. And as you mentioned, they've hurt them once this season already.
Let's talk about how Loudoun can stay in this game. It's going to start and likely end with Ted Kudipietro. Young players showing some knack for scoring.
Yeah, Pars with a lovely nutmeg there, sets it up for Kudipietro, who's been one of their lead players all season, scoring a few goals, standing up to take the penalties as well, which he did against RGV, and he's been one of the leaders of their team.
Conversely, for Pittsburgh, Alex Dixon has been on one all season long.
Oh, he's been firing them in. Have a look at this. One touch, wallop, in the corner it goes. He's been striking them. He's got pace. He's such a good finisher in so many ways. And he has been a star player for them. Yes, Cicerone's been the main man. And he scores with his head. Have a look at this one. I mean, he makes that header look so easy. Back of the net. Brilliant.
Dixon among those back in the lineup after a very heavily rotated game away to San Antonio last time out. Bob Lilly and the Riverhounds taking on Ryan Martin's Loudoun United. We've got lineups and kickoff when we return to the Steel City.
Before, you weren't able to walk very far.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. I couldn't even get out of bed sometimes.
How are you walking now?
I'm walking 6 miles a day.
Awesome.
Getting control back is living proof. The AHN Neuroscience Institute.
Dixon still going and scoring!
With the Riverhounds Mini Flex Plan, you get 6 tickets and only pay for 5. Flex plans are 6 vouchers to use any way you want over the 2021 season. Use them all for one game or spread them out through the season. With 3 different plans starting at $90, you can choose anywhere in Highmark Stadium to cheer on the Hounds. Visit riverhounds.com/flexbooks or call 412-865-GOAL.
Oh, things just got really gusty.
You got that right. Sweet kite. Is that a dragon?
It's a dinosaur.
I really like yours, too.
Of course, the new scratch-off from the PA lottery.
That's right. Solid gold.
With top prizes of...
Wow, 250 grand.
I guess things really are looking up.
It'll blow you away. Keep on scratching.
Summer's over, but the Riverhounds look to stay hot at Highmark Stadium.
That's a rocket from Kennardo Forbes!
The Charleston Battery come to town Saturday, September 25th for a 7 p.m. showdown on the banks of the Mon. It's Faith and Family Night, presented once again by K-Love Radio. Come early and check out our new tailgate zone that's open 2 hours before kickoff through halftime. Visit riverhounds.com or talk to a ticket representative at 412-865-GOAL.
Back at Highmark Stadium in Pittsburgh, the skyline lit up beautifully tonight across the Monongahela River. Mike Watts, Gary Bailey with you, and so excited to share tonight's match with you as well. Ryan Martin, head coach for Loudoun United, has had to deal with a lot of issues surrounding COVID and the team's makeup of late. Manel starts in goal, 17-year-old debuts.
Yeah, and you know what? 7 changes from the last match against Charlotte, which itself was affected by COVID. But it's easy to tell you who remains. 4 remains: Timmy Mel, Jeremy Garay, Nicky Downs, and Kamani Smith. So plenty changes there for Loudoun.
Conversely, Bob Lilly has made a handful of changes. This is really him getting back more to the ideal 11.
Yeah, the sort of comparison with New York Red Bulls, which is when he played his strongest team. Mikel Williams is in for Preston Kilwine, Anthony Velarde for Tom Judge, and Todd Wharton for Tommy Williamson. So 3 changes from the New York Red Bulls lineup.
And 5 from the 1-1 draw at San Antonio that included so much rotation. Closing in on kickoff here in Pittsburgh. A look to the 4th official. And it's a soccer night in Pittsburgh. Riverhounds taking on Loudoun United. And 5 seconds in, we're off and running a Pittsburgh goal kick.
Yep. Second versus bottom of Eastern Atlantic Division. And as we mentioned at the start, if Pittsburgh win, they can go top. But I think more importantly, Mike, they have a bunch of difficult games coming up against Charlotte and Charleston, teams who are fighting for the playoffs. So they really want to get 3 points here tonight.
Ball slipped through for Wharton. And will escape over the line with a touch from Loudoun. Corner Pittsburgh inside the first minute.
Just to finish that thought, with all these big tough matches coming up and against Tampa and Miami, I think Bob Lilly just wants to get the 3 points tonight, know that he's going to be close to the top, and then take on the remaining 7 tough games from there.
King Kenny will go to work. Canardo Forbes. First header's away. Sits up nicely. Rovira. Ball laid back by Wheat and taken on by Loudoun. As the former Loudoun United defender, able to do much with that. On the other end, Montez Dioka played into an offside position.
Just looking at what Loudoun have to do, that 5-0 loss last time out to Charlotte was a tough one at home. But to be fair, they had to make 5 changes just before kickoff due to COVID issues, and played a young goalkeeper who hadn't performed as yet. So it was on debut. So it was just a very tricky situation all round for them. And they want to get back to playing decent football, which, to be fair, they were before the Charlotte game. They had some good results, including 4-1 over Indy 11. And they said beforehand, when speaking to Ryan Martin, that he would like to get back to that sort of confidence spell and leave the 5-0 loss to Charlotte behind them.
Montez Dioka racing through again, this time pushed a bit further away from goal. Touched away by Williams, still for Loudoun. A side whose expected goals are top 5 in the championship, according to Ryan Martin. But the number of goals they've actually scored, a different story to this point. Just 20 on the season. That's dead last in the Atlantic.
Yeah, they had the lowest efficiency in front of goals of any side, and that's a worry because Ryan Martin obviously is developing players, and part of that development is how to finish chances.
Turned over, crowd certainly is aware now, and with a deflection, this will hop out of play wide left. And Alex Dixon, who could be a double-double threat this year on 8 goals, 7 assists, knows he had a better chance at that.
You also had Anthony Velarde on his right-hand side. If we do see it again, you'll see Velarde with his arms up saying, "Pass it to me, I'm free." And Dixon not able to pick him out.
It'll be Forbes again. Forbes delivers, swiped away by the 17-year-old. Now Velarde. This ricochets not once but twice. And not a bad effort there from Manel.
Oh, well done, the young goalkeeper. Not easy. 17 years of age, coming in and making a couple of punches. They put him under pressure early, which is what you would do if you're Pittsburgh. You get crosses on top of the goalkeeper. You test him out. You see if he's up to it. And so far, the young man has been. 2 very, very decent saves. And that follows on the debut of Noah Abrams in the last match. So 2 goalkeepers both on debut.
It's worth noting, if you're looking back on tape at this, Johnny Manel, that's the commentary of Gary Bailey, veteran of nearly 300 games in the league at Manchester United. So take heart. This is a theoretically expert level opinion.
I remember those debuts at 17 and huge guys smashing into me and testing you out. And it's not easy, but he's dealt with the first two expertly, and that will fill him with confidence, no doubt.
The turn by Peters. How old were you when you debuted?
Professionally 17, for Man United, just turned 20. So, yeah, it's young. And I do remember the 17-year-old turning and mouthing off at some 31-year-old that I was going to sort him out if he hit me again.
Was that in South Africa?
It was in South Africa, yes, and he just grinned with no teeth in his mouth, and I thought I shouldn't have said that. But you got to man up. You got to take the knocks and, you know, give them back. And well done, Johnny Manel. First couple of minutes, he looks really good.
Griffin helps to launch this out toward the halfway line. 5 minutes in. Loudoun dangerous according to most every coach. Can they actually carry it through here today? The real question. Comes out to Velarde.
Just on that point, Bob Liddy's saying, you remember when New York Red Bulls 2 took a beating from Hartford 7-0? They beat Charlotte 3-1 next game out. He said, Loudoun have that capability. They can hurt teams. They said they've given us problems. They've won in New Mexico 1-0. So on their day, they can beat anyone. I want my team to be locked in. I want them to be ready for this. That's very good coaching, because you can look at Loudoun and go, well, it's not as tough as playing Miami or Tampa Bay. And if you take your eyes off the prize here, they can catch you, because they have a lot of talent, this Loudoun side.
You mentioned the 5-0 loss against Charlotte last time out. Irvin Parra scored in the 28th minute. But Landry Hosu was sent off for a second yellow card in the 38th. And, well, Loudoun never really got back to it. And combine the fact that several players in the day leading up to the match had to be left out of the 18. Many anticipated starters as well due to COVID issues. Well, Loudoun was dealt a pretty lousy hand.
Yeah, they were, and early on, Kamani Smith had a great chance to give them the lead. So a few things went against them first half, but you're right. Once they went behind, they sort of lost the fight, and I think that's the part Ryan Martin was probably more upset about, was that when they went down to 10 men, they just couldn't find the professional way to close the match out. Very, very difficult situation. They actually went on the attack against Charlotte at times and left themselves even more open, which on the one hand, you've got to applaud for the positivity. On the other, and I guess that's the issue. 1 clean sheet in 18 for Loudoun United. You know, how do you teach younger players, and in this case, not all these are young players, some of them are mid-20s, but how do you teach them to sort of be defensively strong and give nothing away?
Offside flag raised against Cicerone. 5 goals was a career high. He's got 13 now, including 5 in a 2-game stretch. Oh, this is clever. Coup di Pietro lifts this across, and Williams gets a saving touch. Montes Dioca making the run. Corner Loudoun.
I'm guessing that quite a few of the fans at Highmark Stadium are going, oh, hang on a second, this isn't as easy as we thought. There is Ryan Martin with his notebook and
the socks.
Yeah.
That's some top sock game.
This is a hurt Loudoun side. The 5-0 Coup de Pietro is such a good player. 19 years of age. He is one of their major talents.
Coup di Pietro. 21st appearance, 19th start. This goes off the back heel and out over the bar. It's Timmy Mell getting forward.
Big centre back and captain. Little effort there. Goes over Danny Vitiello. He's back in goals, given a rest. Last match out against San Antonio. Lika coming in.
It's a traditional Bob Lilly mentality. You and I were chatting a bit before the game began about the idea that you play Red Bull in the middle of a 3-game, 8-day stretch, and you play an ideal team or close to it, pending what you think best would get a result against Red Bull's high pressing style. And then you go away to San Antonio and pretty thoroughly switch the lineup around. A lot of changes at halftime. Cicerone came in, Kennardo Forbes came in. But it was intriguing to me that they chose the last game rather than the middle game to make those adjustments.
Yeah, I always think when you're playing at home against New York Red Bulls, you don't want to upset the home fans. You want to get a result, and you think you've got a good chance against a team that, to be fair, struggled a bit in that division. Away at San Antonio, it's a long trip. The weather conditions are different, and that's the one that Bob Lilly chose to make the changes. So he grabbed the 3 points from New York Red Bulls, went to San Antonio, and they sneaked a draw at the end, to be fair. Alex Dixon with a great header. And they played a different team first half. Dover started, Judge started, Borso, Velarde up front, Perez. A lot of changes, made substitutions at halftime and brought his big three on, Cicerone, Dixon, and Forbes. And they made the difference eventually. So, yeah, it's what managers have to do, is this rotational policy. But now, from now on, for Bob Lilly and for most teams, it's one game a week, and he feels now they can just take their foot off the pedal and relax a little bit more.
Firing for Smith. The Atlantic Division, most teams are playing 8 or 9 games in the month of September. But once you get to October, then you can sort of tee up, okay, these are the 18, 20 guys that we're really looking at to play. These are the 12 to 14 guys we're looking to start if everybody's healthy. Get them ready for the playoffs. But Bob Lilly is always one to make sure everybody sees some time along the way.
Just in case you need them. You know, you get injuries and you want to bring on a player who got a run out, even if he just got 45 minutes a couple of games ago, but their head's involved with the team. Their next match, Pittsburgh, is Charlotte away in a week's time. Then a following week before Charleston at home, and a following week away to Miami. For Bob Lilly in picture there, those are 3 tough games, because Charlotte and Charleston both fighting for what looks like the remaining playoff spot in this division, and Miami, of course, fighting for top spot.
And this is not your dad's Charlotte or Miami. More on that in a minute. This is well recovered by Pittsburgh in the back. That was Wheat going in. Charlotte's added 3 players in the last month and a half with at least a decade of experience in either the French or English First Division. That's a lot of talent. And Miami looks like a completely different side than the first 10 games. The return for Dixon. There's Manel.
Now, you're 100% right about Charlotte. They have got a lot stronger, and they've got options up front. They've been rotating strikers, Dan Kelly and Irvin Parra, keeping them both super. I mean, can you imagine those two playing at the same time? But you could do that because they've been rotating them, so they're both, I won't say underutilized, but they've got a bit of something left in their legs for the playoffs.
Well, and look at me underselling the fact you've got 2 guys who've combined for something like 140 goals or so in the championship, 95 from Dane Kelly alone. Offside flag up once more in favor of the Eurocentric approach on my part. Christian Fuchs, the former Premier League winner.
Yes.
Leicester, Gabriel Obertan came into that group.
Marveau as well, recently.
Sylvain Marveau was, last couple games I've seen him, looks top of his game, despite being in his mid-30s now.
So again, tough matches coming up for Pittsburgh, which is why they'll look at this and go, yeah, it's likely to be tough, but at home we have to get 3 points, and then the remaining 7 games aren't as crucial. We're pretty much guaranteed a playoff spot. Let's just finish as high as we can and try and get it at home. But, you know, the sort of serious pressure is off them then.
This is turned over and struck from a long way. Garay, the follow is palmed by Vitiello. Vitiello leapt up to that, nearly had it bounce off his backside and in off the crossbar. And that's why El Salvador called Garay in last month for the first time.
Wow, what a strike from Garay, the 18-year-old. Just when we're talking about how Loudoun is not easy and don't underestimate them, if Bob Lilly wanted to prove anything to his players about not taking this game lightly, well, there was a very good reason. What a strike. And Vitiello, possibly a touch lucky that didn't come off the crossbar onto the back of his head and into the net. He manages to gather it up, but that is a warning. They call a shot across the bows. That's exactly what that was, and what a great shot.
Well, this cat just lost its first life. 3 games all decided by 1 goal between these teams. Loudoun's 1-1. It's their only win in the division this year. They've actually been extraordinarily good outside the division this year.
Yeah, that they have. They drew recently against RGV 1-1. They beat Indy 4-1 at home. They beat New Mexico 1-0 away. The only one who caught them out was Colorado. Spring Switchbacks, who, to be fair, have been playing some great football. They lost that one 3-1. So if they were in a different division, could be a totally different outcome to the season, you would think.
8th place Loudoun could very quickly become 4th place in the Central.
But again, the issue, and I'm sure many of their fans watching have always been delighted by their forward play and the attacking options, and they have Bolivar and Paz on the bench. It's in defense that the questions have been asked and haven't really been answered to the fans, and I'm sure the manager's satisfaction. 1 clean sheet in 18. I wonder if today could be the day that they actually knuckle down and keep it nice and tight and get themselves a clean sheet.
Well, Pittsburgh certainly hoping not. 4th and final meeting between these teams in the 2021 divisional format. Oh, this will sneak through. Smith bodied up nicely, and still Rivera drawing some applause. Turned a shore corner into a throw. Here's the mistake earlier, a putrid turnover, and then Garay.
Oh, I wonder what Wheat was doing there. Gave that ball away far too easy. Look at that. Crossbar hits Vitiello on his back, which sort of cushions the ball. If it hits him on his head, it could easily have bounced back in. But what a strike. And Shane Wheat, I'm not quite sure what he's trying to do to play the ball across the field in front of your 18-yard box. That is incredibly risky. And it turns out it was a bad pass anyway. So I think Bob Lilly might have a little word with him when he watches the video tomorrow.
All the while, Garay hauled in by El Salvador for their friendly against Costa Rica last month and did feature. Steady Eddie, Brian Martin says. I just want to see him speak a little bit more in midfield. Something he's growing into in a position that needs it. Ball knotted ahead. Flag is up again. Cicerone's offside.
It's a great little header from Alex Dixon. Great awareness. I know he's offside, Cicerone, but nonetheless, Dixon heads him, puts him right through there. And Cicerone's just got to somehow keep an eye on that back line and make sure he keeps himself onside. Look at Dixon there. He's just drifted early, Cicerone. Very lucky, because Alex Saravia was almost playing him onside. Great season for Cicerone. 2nd in the USL goal scoring behind Haji Barry. A long way behind, admittedly.
Almost any other year he's competing for the Golden Boot right now.
Very, very true.
I've seen the Golden Boot handed out anywhere between that 17 to 25 goal range, but Haji Barry may well shatter it. He's on 21 goals in 22 games now.
Wow.
Cicerone's on 13 and 24.
Haji Barry is just phenomenal. It's one of those that, you know, Cicerone must ignore that and just look at his numbers and go, I'm having a great season. Let's not worry about Haji Barry.
Long run forward. Griffin denied. Maybe the Steel Army can make him a really nice silver boot. What's wrong with that?
It's not just Cicerone, he's got 13. Alex Dixon's got 8. I mean, together they have 21, the same as Haji Barry, but I mean, it's a, you know, it's a pair up front who have decimated a lot of defenses this season.
Cicerone could go from here. He continues to dribble, plays this into feet, Velarde, Cicerone. Deflected corner, Pittsburgh.
Velarde did well there because Cicerone was lining up a shot and the ball came flying to Velarde. He controlled it. Have a look here. Cicerone is looking. He sees Velarde wide. Just there, he gets him a ball that sort of comes to him very quickly. Velarde controls it and gets it back. Cicerone ever so close. Great combination there. And that's what Cicerone can do. And it's a good block, good defending.
Forbes awaits. Early in the second half, he will cross 15,000 minutes played in the championship. All for Bob Lilly in Rochester and in Pittsburgh. Wow. Forbes delivers. Header snapped and saved off the line. Follow-up is put in. Todd Wharton.
That's a fantastic header, absolutely brilliant, has all the power in the world, and young goalkeeper Johnny Manel can't keep it out. Todd Wharton's right there to stick it in the back of the net. Brilliant play there from Pittsburgh. Good corner in, fantastic header coming up. Look at the power behind that. Keeper makes a wonderful save, by the way, and Todd Wharton quickest to react, and they have got that lead, and once again, Loudoun without a clean sheet.
14th career goal for Todd Wharton, his second for Pittsburgh this year. And there's a lot of gold smoke. Pittsburgh ahead.
And that's so tough on young goalkeeper Johnny Manel. He's made a fantastic save to his left. Absolute brilliant reflexes. Made the save, but unfortunately, rather than going to one of his defenders, it goes perfectly in place or in front of Todd Wharton, who dispatches it. Not much more the young keeper could have done.
Well, Pittsburgh trying to extend their 5-match unbeaten streak. Holds the lead now. And they're trying to move rather quickly here.
I think if you were to point fingers at the corner, it's whoever was marking there for the header. That's again where Loudoun have let themselves down. It's the basics, it's the fundamentals of the game. It's the organization of the back, the communication, making sure you're tight with your man, making sure they're the first one to respond to the keeper when he can't hold on to the ball. Those are the things they've struggled with this season, Loudoun, and once again, after some wonderful early play and that incredible shot from Garay, they find themselves behind.
Back from Downs. Came into Loudoun from Hartford. Can Loudoun get back on the bike? Forbes. Knotted down here by Dixon. Slicing over the top. It's a foot race. It's a foot race won by Cicerone. Bypasses Smith. Rivera looks for the return. Smith did well to stick with that. The rookie 4th overall pick in the MLS draft, Englishman out of Clemson. Corner.
Pressure building from Pittsburgh. You just get the sense that the first 15 or so minutes, Loudoun came at them and surprised them. But now they're getting on top, as you would have expected. Tough for Loudoun. They've got to remain organized and defend well.
Well, there are some Loudoun shirts in the building as well, as you can see. Forbes. Fairly high, however, this sidestepped over the line by Michael Gamble. Another corner to come. Always coaching Bob Lilly.
And always gets good results year after year after year. Incredible coach. Great success there at Pittsburgh and before that as well.
This will bounce back toward Dixon. Tried to comb that over. Which is something that's usually only said to describe our hair. All the while.
Just looking at some of the stats of Bob Lilly in terms of managing the club, but it's incredible. It's less than a goal a game that has been scored. In 117 games under Bob Lilly, Hounds have only allowed 103 goals. It's 0.88 per game. And bearing in mind they've scored a ton in that time as well, conceded less than a goal a game. That's the standard, and that's what I would look at Loudoun United, and something they can take away from this game is they want to be able to defend the way Pittsburgh Riverhounds defend.
And I think the easiest way to describe that is collectively.
Yeah, with commitment and with organization and communication. There's quite a few layers to it. But you've got to be hard to break down, and you measure that often, obviously, in terms of goals conceded and often as clean sheets.
Floated forward, Dixon. Dixon trying to turn the corner on the cutback with a shot. Second effort, flings backward, takes it off the turf, sets up Forbes. Option pouring down the left-hand side, and with a deflection, this will ring out over the line.
With the fans behind the goals, loving it there. The Riverhounds fans, such a passionate group. Every single game we cover them, they support their team. They've been there in the rain and all sorts of weather conditions. Look at that.
The American flag out on this September the 11th in the Paul Child stand. Paul Child is more colorful as a commentator than you are, and that's saying something. Ball across. Header down in front of goal and pops out away. That was Williams.
Can't keep losing balls at set pieces, Loudoun United. Once again, another header coming in. And again, credit that young man there. 17 years of age on debut. Nothing he could do with that goal. Great save to his left. Actually was a brilliant save. Didn't deserve to be scored on, but nothing he could do about the rebound.
Rolls away from Todd Wharton, the goal scorer, back in the 20th minute. Pittsburgh's won their last two here at Highmark. Steered down to Vitiello. Arrived as a trialist back in the day. Former Louisville goalkeeper Tim Dobrovolsky was among those trialists. He won the job. And at this stage, he's trying to work on another set of Golden Gloves. It'll be a little bit tougher to attain this year. It appears Tampa Bay's Evan Loro, with their current run of some 500-plus minutes without conceding, may well set the mark in 2021.
He's had a wonderful season, Evan Loro, saving penalties as well. Brilliant form. But, you know, Vitiello is a solid keeper. Made some wonderful saves this season. He must just focus on doing the best he can do. It's always lovely to win these individual awards, but as a team, they must just get to the playoffs and keep on going.
Shuffled between the feet of Cudi Pietro. I hear a lot of players and coach speak saying the individual awards come with the team accolades. If it were me, I'd want both. It's not one or the other. This is a Venn diagram with space in the middle.
Look, ideally, absolutely, it is ideal. But, you know, there's been seasons at United where I've won awards for least goals conceded, but we haven't won the league. So what point is it? I'd rather take the win in the league.
Well,
you know, it's...
If you'd won the league but been a poor goalkeeper, they wouldn't still be singing your name.
As you say, ideally you want both. You want a team that wins the individual and the team awards, and and that's the ideal world to live in, but it doesn't always happen that way. So the question now for Loudoun, being 1-0 down, you can't afford to concede a second, but you've got to get at Pittsburgh. Not easy to do.
Forbes dishes wide. Corner won by Velarde, who is a Man United fan, by the way.
How do you know this?
That's a great question. Commentators always have their little notes on different players, and truthfully, I don't know where it came from, but I imagine he's over the moon that Ronaldo scored twice today.
Absolutely. Which United fan isn't?
I can think of you. Struck out of the air, wide of the post. Well, this sort of came out of nothing. Another recycled ball. Loudoun has really struggled to deal with that thus far.
They certainly have, and you saw the young goalkeeper Johnny Manel out there having a bit of a shot at his teammates, and I don't know what's being discussed here between Todd Wharton and the referee. Maybe Todd Wharton feels he was pushed or shoved, and the referee saying, leave it to me. Let's have a look here. Ball comes in.
14 short of the goal line.
I can't see anything there, but either way, your point is valid. Every time Pittsburgh either force a shot or a scramble or something from a set piece, and if Loudoun allow them to have all these opportunities, eventually something else will go in the back of the net.
Down stepped in. Cudi Pietro fouled. And out comes a fresh coat of ref edge.
Again, Cudi Pietro so quick. Wheat struggling to deal with him. He's the major threat for Loudoun going forward. Cudi Pietro along with Kamani Smith, who leads the line. They do have a couple of other good goal scorers on the bench, mind you. Giovanni Bolivar and Darluis Paz, but they can bring on second half Loudoun if they need to chase the game.
Only brought 6 reserves, 5 field players, and backup goalkeepers, usually their starter. Gamble. Viviello with a false step, and he's able to take over. Hey, the Riverhounds return home Saturday, September 25th, 7 p.m. matchup against the Battery of Charleston. Don't forget to check out the new tailgate zone starting 2 hours before kick. Music as well as local foods and beers. Call 412-865-GOAL or visit riverhounds.com. That could be a massive game for both teams. 2 weeks away.
Plenty big games coming up between now and the playoffs for all 4 divisions. Brilliantly designed by the USL, because each division there's players, or rather there's teams that are maybe just in or just out, and there's going to be nail-biting games, as I mentioned, right till the end. It's been a fantastic season, and I think it's going to get even better.
This ball played out by Manel. DC United Youth, the 17-year-old goalkeeper, almost assuredly playing in front of the biggest and most energetic crowd, to say the least. I would imagine they've been out in the fan zone for a while here for a few hours, and perhaps are equivalently imbibed by now.
Yeah, and he's playing against some of the oldest players he would have played against as well. You know, Alex Dixon at 31 and Conrado Forbes 33, Mikel Williams 31. Mature players, which when you're a youngster and you're only used to playing against players of a similar age, suddenly when you're up against grown men and men in their 30s, it's a big jump. And as you say, some crowd members who might have a particular thing or two to say, and you've got to toughen up and take it all in your stride. It's such a tough match for Loudoun against a Pittsburgh side unbeaten in their last 5, so they're on a run. And Loudoun, just the 1 win in 12. It's, you know, the confidence starts to eke away when you have that bad a run. The only win was against Indy 11 in that cross-divisional game. But only 1 win in 12, players sort of begin to doubt themselves and the players around them, just because you haven't won many, so clearly you're getting used to losing or drawing at best. And now you're up against the Riverhounds, unbeaten for 5, near the top of the table.
Cicerone with Dixon making the run. Dixon dummies this through. The turn, Velarde drops. Maybe too smart for his own good in that particular moment. The attack is still on. Forbes crossing a hair too high for Velarde.
That pressure just keeps on coming, doesn't it? Highest scoring team in this division, Pittsburgh, 37 in 24 games, now 38 in 25. You can see they get the ball wide. Look up here. Canardo 4, which is absolutely brilliant. I mean, that, you're right, that is just inches away from being the absolutely perfect cross.
To your point about 1 win in 12 for Loudoun, Pittsburgh lost to Loudoun on June the 30th, a Wednesday night in Virginia. Since then, they have lost only 2 of 13 games.
Wow.
And they were back-to-back at home against Miami in a barn burner, and 3 days later at Charlotte. Now, this is a Pittsburgh side that's starting to look truly primed for the postseason. And if there were doubts coming into this year, given the players that have moved on, offside flag is up, and I'm not entirely sure about it either.
It might have been for the first ball in, not the flick on the second one. Either way, it was very, very tight. But that's really all they're offering at the moment, Loudoun, after a nice little opening spell. And that wonderful shot by Garay that thundered against the crossbar. They've sort of slowly fallen further and further back, trying to defend. Not through choice, just because they've got to sort of get numbers back to deal with the Pittsburgh attack.
Think a bit about this Pittsburgh side year over year. It's a different crew. This will bounce up to Cicerone. Cicerone pulls this back, tried to nutmeg, and well, Loudoun's got it away for the time being. Van Kay Azil goes to San Diego. Now he's actually back in the East in Birmingham. Mertz goes to Atlanta. James, Skylar Thomas was key in defense last year. Or Papa Mensah. Steven Dos Santos goes to St. Pete.
That was a big loss to Santos up front.
Lee in the back as one of the wingbacks. I mean, you're talking legitimately 7, 8 top-tier starting caliber players from last year's team. And here's Pittsburgh, 2 points off the lead, right behind the reigning conference champion Tampa Bay Rowdies. And there were likely some with some doubt coming into this year that they'd be capable of getting to this point.
Well, they've made 2 signings that have turned that around. That's Alex Dixon and Russell Cicerone, who've been absolutely brilliant. Now, if they hadn't have performed, then Pittsburgh might have been in trouble. But both those players just racking up the numbers and the goals and the assists. And I think Bob Lilly must be delighted with his decisions and bringing them in.
Well, Cicerone, it's both a return to form and a return to his preferred position, because all the injuries in St. Louis at the tail end of last season, they moved him to left wing back. Steve Tritchu, the manager there, told me that Cicerone came into the dressing room after a game and said, "Can you believe I'm doing this? I'm playing left wing back. Can you believe this?"
I think he's a very intelligent player, Cicerone, and you can almost play him anywhere. But you're right, for me, his best position is just left of center or right of center. He can play either side. Such a clever player. And good with his head as well. He's good with both feet. Runs into space as well. Heads well. And Dixon, he's got pace and skill.
Dixon allowed through Velarde from Wharton. Velarde. Well, it's another instance where Pittsburgh maybe doesn't show nearly enough aggression in the final third to go for the jugular.
Velarde's first touch, though, as it comes to him, instead of just playing it in front of himself and teeing himself up, he miscontrols, has to go back and fetch the ball, an opportunity lost, but fantastic in transition. And I was just talking about the second player, Alex Dixon, as the ball came to him. His pace going forward is so good, and his ability to run with the ball at his feet. Have a look here. He turns, and look at the pace in which he goes, and the skill. And then beep, beep, he's in the box, head up, he finds. Now look at the first touch there. It goes backwards. Why not forward? Velarde, take it forward, and then you thump the ball in the back of the net. So close for Pittsburgh.
I think Bob Lilly just had the exact reaction of most every fan in the stands. Is that a Roadrunner reference?
Beep, beep, sorry, yes. Is that an English thing? Is it a Roadrunner?
I was surprised it was an English thing. Well, Sadavia might need a new set of ankles. Forbes turned away by Garay. 40th minute, the opener came in the 20th from Todd Wharton, his second of the year. One of a handful of players, part of the St. Louis FC diaspora over the offseason as that franchise folded.
Yeah, such a pity to lose St. Louis. They've given us so many great games, but what they have done is that wonderful team has dispersed and other teams have benefited from it, and Cicerone in particular was a great capture for Riverhounds. And just looking at them, they're making Loudoun do a lot of running, and I'm looking at the last 15-20 minutes and thinking back to Charlotte midweek and how Charlotte ran rampant second half, and I'm just worried that the same thing happens again here.
Dambrot, one of the players not even in the 18 for that game against Charlotte. Four starters, field players, plus the goalkeeper, so 5 in total, were left out of the 18 altogether tonight after the Charlotte performance. Pittsburgh at the end line, ball wound across, and again, it's narrowly off the mark, but Dixon recovers, and this slid away by Downs.
Just as Dixon was going for the ball, Todd Wharton put his foot in the way. He's just sort of saying, you know, giving him a high five, saying, okay, we botched that up, because Dixon was about to jump on it and Todd Wharton tried to play him in, and between them.
Great tackle by Wharton.
Yeah, but basically that's why they were having a bit of a, I wouldn't say a laugh, more like a grimace between them, but these things happen.
Forbes. Header away. Forbes will get a second bite of the apple. Forbes crossing. Header bouncing. And away from Manel. This is going to be another corner. Well, it sure seemed that way, because even Manel thought that was going to be a corner.
Crowd not happy, as you can hear from the noise. Let's have a look at it again. They're just not able to win headers clearly enough, Loudoun. Have a look, this drops down. They're not winning the header. They're hoping that it doesn't fall into dangerous areas, and the problem is it will eventually. I don't think there's been one set piece that's come in that Loudoun have dealt with and headed clear of the box. Every single one has dropped into dangerous areas.
I got to tell you, this is the most unified I've ever heard the chants in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
It's been very good tonight. They're in true postseason form out here. Well, there's room to run into out here wide. Turning, rolled over to Dixon. Dixon with a blast. Dips high over the crossbar. Dixon continues to get his chances for the Riverhounds. And they are certainly closing in on a second.
It's a lovely play, isn't it? From left to right, Cicerone, head up there, finds Dixon, he hits it. He's trying to sort of go upper right-hand or left-hand top corner. Instead, he goes middle over the keeper. But the space they're getting, the ability to attack this defense, it's a very worrying trend for Loudoun United, because they're not getting forward much at all, and there's big gaps at the back when they do defend. I guess the big question for Ryan Martin at halftime is what does he do, or what can he do to tighten things up at the back, keep possession and start moving things into the opposition half. He's got a couple of players on the bench that might make a difference. Massimo Ferrin, for example, at 22 years of age, and the 2 strikers, but bringing on Darluis Paz or Giovanni Bolivar and not giving them service isn't going to help either.
Throw to come. You see Robbie Dambrot there. I think a lot of Pittsburgh fans are aware of the surname. Keith Dambrot is the head men's basketball coach at Duquesne University, and perhaps as well known as anything for his time as the head coach at St. Vincent St. Mary High School in Akron, coaching LeBron James.
Oh, wow.
Well, see, he didn't know. Ryan Martin actually told me back in May that Robbie's dad had apparently said, yeah, come watch us, go through practice and see how we do things. And there's a bit of a a comparison there. And I wish Keith Dambrot all the success in the world in every game but two when his Duquesne Dukes play my Fordham Rams.
The vested interest there, have you, Mike?
Indeed I do, yes, indeed. His dad coached in the Akron area, so that's where he ultimately first began his soccer career. Robbie Dambrot played for AFC Cleveland, which ultimately led him to play at the University of Akron. Then he transferred into Pitt, finished his collegiate career there. Shoulder surgery caused him to miss the entirety of the 2020 season once it had restarted, Dambrot. But we were told he took a bit after his old man. He looked like an assistant coach on the field, according to Ryan Martin. He was just as competitive whether his arm was in a sling or not.
But he's going to have to be competitive today and help those around him because they're really struggling here, Loudoun, under pressure. Damrot's got his hands filled on that left-hand side, Loudoun's right-hand side.
Has indicated there will be a minimum of 1 stoppage minute. Again, the fourth official has indicated 1 stoppage minute at the end of the first half.
Loudoun looking for something here at the tail end of the half, driving toward the sweet end of the stadium. Advantage played. Here goes Velarde. Cicerone making the central run. And he's played him through now. Cicerone! Excellent save, Manel. Off his line, took it off the chest. Dying seconds of the first half and turned back to Pittsburgh. Forbes.
It's a great breakaway, isn't it, by Anthony Velarde to create that chance for Cicerone. Hits it at the goalkeeper. Could he have gone wide of Manel? Or maybe we just say well done to the young 17-year-old keeper. Good save.
Halftime in Pittsburgh, 1-0. It could have been worse. And if you're Loudoun, you've got all these attacking options on your bench. They may think they can nick something here on the road.
Well, they've got to defend first and then get ball up to those up front, you know, and if you have too many attacking options, then you're likely to lose by 4 or 5 if you don't defend properly. So questions and difficulties for Ryan Martin to figure out as Wharton still argues with the referee about something from that first half. But yeah, tough one for Ryan Martin, and let's see how they prepare for the second half.
Well, after a 20-minute, apparently, discussion between Wharton and the referee, we are indeed headed to halftime. Big boats, small boats, remembrance. And then what a game we've had so far. Plenty of action. Pittsburgh the opening goal. Loudoun a chance or two that's caused a quiver. Plenty coming up here at the half.
Summer's over, but the Riverhounds look to stay hot at Highmark Stadium.
That's a rocket from Kennardo Forbes.
The Charleston Battery come to town Saturday, September 25th for a 7 p.m. showdown on the banks of the Mon. It's Faith and Family Night, presented once again by K-Love Radio. Come early and check out our new tailgate zone that's open 2 hours before kickoff through halftime. Visit riverhounds.com or talk to a ticket representative at 412-865-GOAL.
Hey, I'm Mike Rowe, here today to encourage you to connect with 811 before you dig.
And I'm Mike Rowe, and I'm here because I love to dig in the dirt.
It's true. He's also here because he's very small and not that bright. Here, for instance, we can see Mike Rowe doing what he loves to do. And here we can see the consequences of not doing what he should have done. Dude, why didn't you call 811?
I forgot the number.
See? Not that bright.
My name is Shay, and I have a condition that I take a medication that's made out of human plasma.
Hi, Shay. Welcome to BioLife. We take the generous gift of these donors in order to make these therapies. We make it safe, fast, and easy.
You know, you're compensated for your time while you're coming in and donating.
I just really wanted to thank you for your donation because y'all do change lives. Y'all really do.
birthday.
And I'm thankful for that.
Welcome back, everybody. Kick for Cash is coming up, but this isn't Las Vegas. This isn't actually happening in-game. This is a very real halftime entertainment. Pittsburgh 1, Loudoun 0. If you know Devin Kerr, you know this isn't a man for cable. He's a man for dish.
Sometimes you just feel extra spicy. Bartender, shots for everybody. Week 21 in the USL Championship. Lou City never lost 3 in a row. They're on the road at Hartford Athletic. Not going to happen. Tap in by Cameron Lancaster. Not the greatest of goals, but it's 63rd regular season. That moves them to 5th all time. Stir the pot a little bit more because as Lancaster does the dirty work and he's doing the dishes, little cut to the near post, back across. Not the greatest of goalkeeping. Just tap it in. Tap, 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 Rue by Jorge Gonzalez. They are off and flying. Leave it on a jet plane, never to be found again. No one told Preston. This kid was magnificent. What a ball back at the cross. Spins the slots. 7th on the season for Obregon. Hartford Athletic, just like that, with the 5th on the season for Derek Dotson. Still alive. They're back in it. But as I always say, there's 90 minutes. That was in the first half. 4 goals. It's crazy. Brian Ownby, 4 goals for him. 8 assists. Career numbers on one end, tied on the other. And Antoine Openo. You call your friends, you text your family. No one's around. Hostess, table for 1. 4th goal on the night for Lou City. 3 points. And just like that, all is well in the Eastern Conference, and Lou City trying to reign supreme. Charlotte, Loudoun. I'm going to let the numbers speak for itself. 5 goals, 2 in the first, 3 in the second. Why? Why, you ask? This is what happens when you get a double yellow. Not on Husu. Yellow in the opening 5 minutes, yellow in the 37th minute. Irvin Parra grabs his 8th and 9th on the season. Hugh Roberts scores a goal, just hanging out on the back post. He wants to make friends. He sticks one in the back of the net. That's a center back by you. And I love Hugh Roberts, but it's a center back by you. You got to do better. You got to get stuck in. Can't do that. Palomino, goalkeeping should be better. That's all I got. I'm just saying goalkeeping should be better. Defending should be better. Charlotte Independence, they win 5-0. They can go 7 clear if they can complete a victory tonight against Hartford Athletic. Tulsa is back. Oh, the producer, Eric Valero, is flying because it's not black and yellow, it's black and gold, and it's Marlone. 1-0. You're welcome in the 11. Arteaga. Yeah, I mean, the thought on the goal itself, it's a good strike, but when you stand at attention, that doesn't mean stand still and don't defend. 89th minute controversy? Absolutely not. This is a smart striker. Just getting a little bit dragged up behind. Super Dario puts it into the back of the net, gives FC Tulsa. Lean with it, rock with it, lean with it, rock with it. Streaks of winning 3, losing 3, 3 unbeaten, 4 losses in a row, 5 wins. Sprinkle in a couple of wins and losses, and all of a sudden, FC Tulsa thinks that they can get into 2nd place. They're very close. Haji Berry, 21 goals, 22 games. That means there's 10 games left. How many goals can he score? At .95 goals a game, that says 30.4, but we don't give out anything for .4. Let's call it 30. Let's see what he does with the record. Je m'appelle Jose. He's not French, but with strikes like this, it's fine dining all night long. Monarchs, reach into your back pocket, grab that thing you call wallet, put it on the table, pay the tab. Wow, how good was that goal? Welcome to the USL Championship halftime segment, ladies and gentlemen. What's that thing on the tube with videos, highlights, stats? We'll see you soon.
I am a first-generation student here at Bellevue University. I feel like if I were to have gone to a different university, my experience would have been a lot more stressful and overwhelming because I feel like I wouldn't have gotten that personal experience that Bellevue University has to offer.
his right-footed shot, and it's in! Knocked away. Looking for Para, could fall for an opportunity here. The shot comes in! Oh, it's brilliant!
I did get an interesting text from someone in the Phoenix organization talking about how big and physical that game was, and maybe they didn't necessarily know it was going to be just like that. I think they got a good taste. By the way, in case you're wondering, Forrest Lasso is competing for the Summer Olympics in gymnastics. Just wanted you to know.
So is Lee Cohen. He was part of that routine.
Bring it to me.
Forrest Lasso, the defender of the year, leaping over the ad boards and pirouetting his way toward the dugout.
Have you heard about the new Tailgate Zone at Highmark Stadium? The Tailgate Zone is located just outside of the Highmark Stadium West Gate for all remaining 2021 home matches starting 2 hours before kickoff. You can hang out pregame through halftime of Hounds home games and enjoy local brews and drinks, local food trucks, and music as part of the match day festivities. Visit riverhounds.com for more information or call 412-865-GOAL.
Welcome back, everybody. A big round of applause at Highmark Stadium. Lieutenant Colonel Christopher T. Griffiths receiving his commission as an ordnance officer from Bucknell University's Army ROTC program, entered active duty in 1994 for his recent role in Task Force Duquesne Commander and for his involvement in Operation Capital Response. Awarded the Armed Forces Service Medal tonight. And after 30 years of service to the Army and the Army National Guard, Lieutenant Colonel Griffiths will retire at the end of September. Thank you for your career, Lieutenant Colonel, and congratulations on a well-deserved retirement. Meanwhile, before the game, members of the United States Air Force Delayed Entry Program took the oath of enlistment. These young men and women will all volunteer to serve as airmen in the United States Air Force, and today officially sworn in. Thank you to them as well. Let's take a look at some news and notes from around the USL Championship and get you caught up. Mike Watts, Gary Bailey back with you. Haji Berry is now running the table for the Golden Boot. Evan Loro hasn't given up a goal in a month. Haji Berry, of course, then is Player of the Month.
Yeah, and Paul Dalglish earns Coach of the Month. Miami FC doing really well to work their way up, but Haji Berry appearing on both of those pictures because he's just having the season of all seasons.
And Corey Herzog, Pittsburghers know him well, back into the spotlight, Clear Audio Player of the Week. Here's the scoreboard around the USL Championship. Charlotte at halftime leads Hartford. That feels a bit like a must-win for Hartford right now, doesn't it?
That's a 6-pointer that if Hartford do end up losing, they're a long way from getting into the playoffs.
Tampa Bay has taken a 1-0 lead over Red Bulls 2. Austin last night knocked off New Mexico. There's a lot going on in that matchup. Here's the upcoming games tonight. You'll see all of them on ESPN+. The Mountain Division has some real humdingers. Meanwhile, out in the West, LA Galaxy, Las Vegas Lights, Oakland Roots, they're all just trying to find their way back into playoff position, going up against the 1, 2, 3 sides in the Pacific.
Yeah, and Oakland Roots have got one of the best, are one of the best formed teams at the moment, having started absolutely bottom of that table. Brilliant run they have had. If they beat San Diego Loyals tonight, they could very well make the playoffs, which would be one of the greatest comebacks of all time.
All right, well, players are making their way back onto the field, and we are closing in on the second half. We've got the goal from the first half, other highlights to boot when we return after these messages and a word from your local station.
Whoa.
Oh, things just got really gusty.
You got that right. Sweet kite. Is that a dragon?
It's a dinosaur.
I really like yours, too.
Of course, the new scratch-off from the PA Lottery.
That's right. Solid gold.
With top prizes of...
Wow, 250 grand.
I guess things really are looking up.
It'll blow you away. Keep on scratching.
Summer's over, but the Riverhounds look to stay hot at Highmark Stadium.
That's a rocket from Kennardo Forbes.
The Charleston Battery come to town Saturday, September 25th for a 7 p.m. showdown on the banks of the Mon. It's Faith and Family Night, presented once again by K-Love Radio. Come early and check out our new tailgate zone that's open 2 hours before kickoff through halftime. Visit riverhounds.com or talk to a ticket representative at 412-865-GOAL.
Before you weren't able to walk very far.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. I couldn't even get out of bed sometimes.
How are you walking now?
I'm walking 6 miles a day.
Awesome.
Getting control back is living proof. The AHN Neuroscience Institute.
Have you heard about the new Tailgate Zone at Highmark Stadium? The Tailgate Zone is located just outside of the Highmark Stadium West Gate for all remaining 2021 home matches starting 2 hours before kickoff. You can hang out pregame through halftime of Hounds home games and enjoy local brews and drinks, local food trucks, and music as part of the match day festivities. Visit riverhounds.com for more information or call 412-865-GOAL.
Welcome back. A look across the river, and things are all lit up tonight. There is baseball in town as well this evening. Mike Watts, Gary Bailey back with you. 1-0 Pittsburgh. You know the Riverhounds are always the favorite when they're playing at Highmark. We begin back in the 9th minute in our first half highlights. And this is one of the handful of dangerous moments. There wasn't much to say for Loudoun offensively.
Yeah, Timmy Mel just trying a little bit of a back heel, which from a big center back shows a lot of skill. But it was mostly the Riverhounds, to be fair. Once they got going, it was effort after effort. This is Cicerone to Velarde, gets it back, and just as he's about to shoot, timely tackle there from the Loudoun United defense.
This, however, would result in a corner. And a minute later, Canardo Forbes. Williams down, good save, not enough.
Yeah, Mikel Williams with a fantastic header. Brilliant save from Johnny Manel. But all he can do is just keep the ball out, and it gets poked in by Todd Wharton. And they are 1-0 up. And that came after they'd hit the crossbar early in the half from a wonderful Jeremy Garay shot. But that was about all they had. The rest of it was the Riverhounds. Alex Dixon just blasted over the bar. So just the one goal in that first half.
Dixon working toward that rare double-double in the USL Championship. It's dark beyond the borders here at Highmark Stadium. A beautiful evening in September. Underway in the second half between Pittsburgh and Loudoun. Loudoun United looking for their 4th win of the year. It's been a struggle at times. They've also hung around with good teams, including Pittsburgh. This is the 4th meeting. All have been decided by 1 goal. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, trying to match their longest unbeaten streak of the year at 6. And in doing so, pending the result in St. Pete tonight, could potentially take over first in the Atlantic Division.
Now they're looking good so far, Pittsburgh, and they can't control what happens in the Tampa Bay Rowdies match, but they can certainly try and get the win here. And they look like favorites at this stage. They're at home. They're 1-0. They had by far the better of the first half, except for that one thunderous shot from Garay that hit the crossbar. But as Bob Liddy says, this is a talented bunch of youngsters that can hurt you if you switch off.
Dixon, Mel, scooped up by Johnny Manel. Committed to play for Xavier. A few hours away in Cincinnati.
Just that Loudoun have conceded the 2nd most in the division and 3rd most in the USL behind Vegas and New York Red Bulls. That doesn't augur well, does it? If you're a Pittsburgh player, you're thinking, well, we can get at this back four, we can score goals. They might get one, but if they get one, we can get 3 or 4. And that is how you sort of feel the Cicerones, Dixons, and Forbes see this match. They're in control, and if Loudoun do get one, they can always bounce back and get a couple more themselves.
Dambrot. Nice little give, but Cudi Pietro was offside, and I got to tell you, Gary, I think this is the busiest AR we've had the entire season on this end. Goodness.
Yep. Lot of calls for offside, which again is a question for the strikers themselves to time their runs, and if not them, then the person playing the ball has to time the pass. One of the two get it wrong, obviously, for the offside to take place.
Spoken like a true goalkeeper. It's tougher than you think.
But yellow, we haven't seen him do much. He waved at that shot that hit the crossbar from Garay. Hit him in the back of the, well, hit him in his back, I guess. Other than that, we really haven't seen Vitiello do much.
No advantage, and the argument coming from Cu Di Pietro is, if you're going to stop play, should you show a yellow as well? Loudoun suffering from what was described as a comedy of errors against Charlotte, 5-0 last time out. But in that game, trailed just 2-0 at halftime.
They were down a player at that stage, though, and that made a big difference. But even here, you do get the sense of Pittsburgh are in control and that they're going to just ramp up the pressure. And that could mean more goals for the home side. Lost possession as they cross the halfway line there, Loudoun, losing possession. It's just, it's ineffective. They look comfortable in their own half, but it's in the sort of opponent's half that you have to produce the goods. As soon as they cross the line, they start to find it difficult to move forward. And look, admittedly, it's a fantastic Riverhounds defense who've conceded very little this season. Let's have and see how they go here and see if they can keep possession. Well, it didn't last long, did it?
Is that the commentator's curse?
Well, if it happened one-off, yes, but as I say, it's been happening most times they get in the other half. They're just not able to string together too many passes. And what happens is you lose possession, and then you expend a lot of energy getting the ball back. Michael Gamble, I haven't seen much of him either. Good chance for him at age 27 to use his seniority with some of the younger players and help them get back in this match.
Only 2 players for Loudoun tonight are above 70% passing in the attacking half. Wow. Nicky Downs and Jeremy Garay. Neither of which would truly, I think, surprise you.
Yeah, those are their best players in many respects, but there needs to be more, and the percentage should be a little bit higher than 70%. I don't know what the comparison is with players at Pittsburgh, but you would think the Conrado Forbes of the world might be a touch higher.
Forbes at 82%. Jelani Peters actually is at 75%. Wharton at 90. Velarde has completed all 6 of his passes in the attacking half. Rivera over 70%.
Well, there you go then. That just shows you that in the opponent's half, Pittsburgh produced the goods when required, and Loudoun struggling to do that. And that's the battle for Ryan Martin. He's developing players, and it's not always easy for him. And as he said to us in chatting today, he does have a lot of rotations, a lot of players that he loses to the senior team, or he has to move around or change for whatever reason. So very difficult for him to have a regular team that he puts out. Whereas for Bob Lilly, the team you're looking at is pretty much, give or take 1 or 2 players, his strongest 11. And they do play fairly regularly together.
Well, and he did tell us there was some question about whether this match would be played tonight, which jives with the reporting from the Washington Post about potential COVID issues pushing back the time that the bus left Virginia for Pittsburgh. So there's just a lot more than what meets the eye for Loudoun. Doesn't explain everything away. You do get a better grip on it. And a lot of the talk we had this week with Ryan Martin was about consistency, individually, collectively, that the more consistent players are the ones that are finding their way into the team with DC United.
Yeah, 100% correct. And he actually picked out Kamani Smith as one example. He feels he's a really good player with a lot of talent, but he scored 1 in 14. So I'm looking for 1 goal every second game. In other words, 7 in 14. That's when DC United go, okay, hang on a second, bring me this lad, I want to see him play. But 1 in 14, that's not going to attract the attention of the senior squad. So that's a consistency that Ryan Martin's looking for.
And to go beyond that, it's not just the 1 goal. It's 1 goal contribution, 0 assists as well. 54th minute, Pittsburgh holding the lead since the 20th through Todd Wharton. Griffin. Since 1947, Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. Select, the official ball supplier, the USL Championship, and many of the elite leagues throughout Europe. For the latest Select products and special offers, visit selectsportamerica.com. Lofted forward Forbes. This is going the wrong way.
That was Danny Griffin with the pass there, and just Forbes unfortunately offside. By the way, Danny Griffin's 6th highest number of passes in the USL with 1,192. Top is Sean Tosh of Lou City with 1,470. But to be 6th in the USL is impressive, and again, it just shows you that they can control the game. Pittsburgh, they can move the ball around a lot, and obviously a lot of it goes to Danny Griffin, and I think a fair chunk probably through Conrado Forbes.
Dive over the top from Smith, who has shown a good defensive work rate tonight. Oh, there he is again. There's Griffin. He was so excited when he left Providence in the sense that I can just focus on soccer now, no more studies. And, well, this is his 2nd pro season, and so far so good. 2nd round pick of the Crew a couple years ago.
Closing it down, Riverhounds, no spare space to play in. That's a turnover ball once again. They do it so well, Pittsburgh. They get possession, and they're in control of this match at 1-0. They're very much saying to Loudoun United in a way, you take chances, you take risks. You're the team that are behind. And if you do take those risks, then hopefully we'll pounce on an error and punish you and get the 2nd goal that we need just for a little bit of insurance.
The Shields. Mel. Oh, that's turned over. Pittsburgh attacking toward the suites and away from the Paul Child stand in this 2nd half. Riverhounds have added premium suites for 2021. Exclusive and private suites with premium menu options. Check out the balcony that overlooks all the action and a majestic view of the Pittsburgh skyline. You can visit riverhounds.com or call the box office at 412-865-GOAL. And down to that end they go again. Ball lifted. Velarde on the first time, pulled in by Manel.
Good strike from Velarde. Didn't get too much power on it, but good direction at the goalkeeper. Lovely move. Dixon again. He's paced on that right-hand side. Brilliant first-time ball in, and Velarde just gets it on target, but the goalkeeper can react. Just hasn't quite got enough pace to give Johnny Manel too many problems, and once again, the goalkeeper equal to it. Good pressure again here from the Hounds. It's a show!
Oh! Kenardo Forbes has scored one of the best he's had in a Pittsburgh uniform. Rips this out of the air. Riverhounds by 2.
Great strike. The fans are saluting with their drinks up in the air, not surprisingly so. Wonderful volley there from Kenardo Forbes, and that follows a little spell of pressure. But have a look, comes down and he absolutely smacks this ball. And they've been threatening the Riverhounds, they've been creating problems. The ball into him is wonderful, but the strike itself, stunning. That is Kenardo Forbes. Applause from Bob Lilly, his coach.
Second of the year for Kenardo Forbes to go alongside 6 apples. The 33-year-old continues after just eclipsing the 15,000-minute mark of his championship career. 15,006 minutes in, as good as he's ever been. And Loudoun will make a series of substitutions after the Riverhounds captain doubles the advantage. The subs were always coming, but they're coming now nonetheless. Farron, Paz, and Bolivar set to come in. And Loudoun has officially shuffled the deck, looking for an answer here.
The thing is, if you're going to throw on Paz and Bolivar, like we said in the first half, that means you're going for attack, or you're bringing on attacking players. There might be more gaps at the back, and Pittsburgh, with the players they have, they will find those gaps and they will punish you. So big risk here from Loudoun, as they did against Charlotte, and it went from 2-0 down to 5-0. But you have to applaud them for being positive and at least having a go. So their fans, be gentle, even if they do end up conceding a few more. At least they put bodies on the pitch to try and get back in the game.
Montez Dioka came out as well. He was really intriguing the first 10, 15 minutes of this game, and Pittsburgh figured out how to stop those dicing runs through the back line. Cicerone, who got the assist, is 5th of the year on the Forbes goal. Dixon. Marnie Smith continues to show a lot of enlightenment, chasing after the ball down that flank. Rovira. Forbes. Kenardo Forbes, 2014, played in Champions League briefly. This ball over the top. Flag is up, offside. It's in the net, crowd's cheering, but it's not going to count. It's Cicerone in an offside position.
It's a great run by Russell Cicerone. He's saying he wasn't offside, but he's been caught a few times in this match, and he's not the only one. But it was a good run, good finish, and unfortunately for him, it's not going to count. I'm just looking now, 60th minute we've reached, and just wonder if Bob Lilly, bottom right corner of the picture there, might start looking at his bench. There's a number of players who actually played against San Antonio in the last match and started the match. In fact, Louis Perez, Jordan Dover, Preston Kilwine, Tom Judge. They're all players who started, and he might feel it's time to bring them on and give them another run, keep them in the loop as they head closer and closer to the playoff games. So expect to see a couple of them anyway in the next 5 to 10 minutes.
Ball through, brought down. Dixon. Manel. Well, and you think about Pittsburgh right now. They don't play again until a road game away to Charlotte next weekend. So you could go a little bit longer knowing that you did the rotation with the San Antonio game, and potentially now after a full week. Anywho, options galore for Bob Lilly.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not about resting legs, it's just about involving players, making them feel part of it, that, you know, they're not just sitting on the bench game after game. So he'll know best when to bring them on and whether to bring them on, because he's with them every day and he understands what their needs are. But he'll have knowing Bob Lilly as well as you do and I do, He'll have an eye on those playoffs. He'll be thinking, I need to have those players ready and primed for when those huge games start coming his way.
Good idea from Boulevard to try and hold that down, but the run had already passed him by. Out to Cicerone.
Now you've got three strikers in Bolivar, Kamani Smith, and Darluis Paz. And you just wonder who's going to do the defensive work, because Pittsburgh will sit deep, they'll defend and do what they have to do, and then they're going to counter with pace. And if everyone's up front trying to attack and no one's defending, that's going to be a problem for Loudoun.
Bolivar and the offside flag waves again. It's been that kind of night. Hey, Riverhounds fans, mini flex plans are 6 undated vouchers to use any way you want over the 2021 season to catch the Hounds in action. Use them all for one game or spread them out through the season. On sale now. Plans start at just $90. Call the box office at 412-865-GOAL. Next home game will be the September 25th game against Charleston. One that will have significant implications, one would imagine, at the top of the division for Pittsburgh. But for Charleston at the playoff line, wonderful ball ahead. It's Forbes with Mel. Mel goes in, free kick, Pittsburgh.
Mel not happy, but hefty challenge on Forbes. Cicerone had made a run, and he was a bit annoyed with Forbes. I think Forbes just nodding his head saying, yep, sorry, I saw you go, but just couldn't quite get the ball to you. But again, so sharp in attack, Pittsburgh, and you just sense that there'll be more opportunities opening up. There is Canado Forbes, and here comes that challenge now, and he does take the player. So there's no question about that being the correct decision from the referee, Callan Radisav. And I guess it doesn't get any easier for Loudoun United. They've got Hartford at home next, and Hartford now getting desperate for points as they slip further and further away from a playoff place. Then they're away at Miami. Well, good luck with that.
No, they've been borderline unbeatable of late. Charlotte's now double their lead against Hartford, and Sylvain Marvaux has scored both goals.
You talked about those new players that signed up, and there's proof of their value.
The Rowdies are now 3-0 up on New York. They failed to convert a penalty 10 minutes in. Guinzotti, and then Leo Fernandez has scored twice. Guinzotti has atoned. Here are those subs you were looking for. Velarde and Wharton get their curtain call. Wharton, the 20th minute go-ahead goal. That's Louis Perez, 24-year-old Frenchman, making his 20th appearance, 12th as a substitute. And then haven't seen Ezra Armstrong get a ton of run out this year's 10th appearance, and should he stay in the rest of the way, he'll eclipse 300 minutes tonight. The 22-year-old son of U.S. national team stalwart Desmond Armstrong.
And as we thought there, Bob Lilly just taking off two players who've done a lot of running, bringing on two others who he wants to feel that they're part of the team and they're involved. And he's already got his eyes on the next 7 matches, the tough matches coming up, and then the playoffs. So it is managing the team, managing the mental state and physical state of all his players.
It's amazing when you start a 32-game marathon, as these teams have. And of course, you want to play the last 4, so to speak. Potential playoff run to a title. Attack is on here for Loudoun. If they can get one back, suddenly this isn't going to feel so far out of reach. Bolivar leaning back. Garay out to Mel. We're starting to get to that point where you are considering the end game. Accumulation of wear and tear, trying to make sure guys are fully fit should the opportunity arrive. Don't forget when Bob Lilly won the title with Rochester in 2015, Sonny Samuels was not really in form, and not really playing much, and he ended up being the star of that game. Game-tying goal late, and the go-ahead goal in extra time.
I guess from Bob Lilly's point of view, he knows they've qualified for the playoffs, barring something crazy happening. So he's got to have one eye on where he finishes in terms of, does he get a home game in the next, in the playoff rounds, and what is his team going to be? How's it going to structure? What's it going to look like? Which players does he want to be superbly fit and ready? And you have to be thinking that way, as do Miami and Tampa Bay. For the others, for Charleston and Charlotte and Hartford, it's not about the playoffs. It's about getting to the playoffs. For them, it's an almighty battle, which right now, Charlotte look like they're in the best position to qualify as the 4th team. But for the other 3, they've more or less qualified, and they'll already be turning an eye towards the playoffs.
It would take something Herculean from Miami, which they may well be in the process of doing, to catch Pittsburgh or Tampa Bay. As well as they've played, they haven't really made up any ground on the top 2. They've just lapped the rest of the field. Another sub here. Going to be Gabara coming on. Hey, we do want to tell you, great sadness. Pro was informed that referee assessor Merritt Guthrie passed away on September the 6th at the age of 67. The former referee and national referee coach joined Pro's assessor panel in 2019. Pro officials throughout the country will begin wearing black armbands in games across MLS, NWSL, and the USL beginning at some point this weekend. And our thoughts are with Merritt's family at an extremely difficult time. The Barrows come on for Sadavia for Loudoun.
The Riverhounds would like to wish a happy 43rd birthday to Joe Becker.
Referees, especially in the COVID environment, crisscrossing the country and essentially acting as individuals. When you're going through this with a team, it's a lot different. There is that loneliness, that isolation that can occur in this time. But in speaking with some referees over the past 18 months, when you're crisscrossing the country and expected to follow the same general protocols as the players and the different leagues, it's extraordinarily difficult. And they, regardless of performance on any given day, are essential to the growth of the game in this country and deserve credit. This will run all the way out to the far touchline.
They deserve a lot of credit, and they deserve appreciation, Mike. From my perspective, I don't think there's any tougher job than that of a referee. Almost no matter what decision you make, one half of the pitch is going to be unhappy with it. And to be fair, I think the USL referees and assistant refs are fantastic, really high quality. And the players in general do respect and listen to them. A lot more in USL than you see in some of the leagues overseas in Europe. But nonetheless, abuse of referees, unacceptable for me. You have your say, you can say, referee, I disagree, but then to get in their face, I don't think that's acceptable, and I think managers have to be very, very strict with their players about how they treat the officials.
And you think back to the first half, sort of that 20-minute ebb and flow conversation between Wharton and our official Radosov tonight. But it was no point did it become mean-spirited, right?
Exactly, fantastic point. They had the discussion. Yes, he did go on a little bit longer than really he should have, but as Vitiello just gathers there, but there was no nastiness. I really, and you know what annoys me is when I watch coaches shouting and screaming abuse from the touchline for something they can't see. It's 60, 70 yards away. And we're watching on replays and going, no, it's not offside, and the coach is abusing the assistant ref saying it is. You know, I know coaches are passionate. I know they have to get annoyed about some things, but don't have a go at the refs when you can't see what's really happened anyway. Sorry, it's just my 10 cents worth.
Well, add my 5 cents. And we're halfway to a gumball. 72nd minute, Pittsburgh a 2-goal advantage here. Across the river from downtown Pittsburgh. Riverhounds are well on their way to jumping up to 47 points. It is an extraordinarily convoluted top of the league right now between your Phoenixes and El Pasos, your Tampa Bays, Louisvilles, and of course Pittsburgh. Just rolled out wide and kept in. Gabara.
See how deep Riverhounds are in their final third. They defend so well, and then they get turnover ball, and then off they go in attack. And that is why they're such a difficult team to break down. They're disciplined, they're well organized, they understand each other. Bob Liddy's got them playing together often enough for them to be a unit, and extremely difficult team to break down. If to beat this team, I think you have to get ahead of them. The only team I've seen come back, as Ryan Martin shakes his head, there is Miami. Miami were 2-0 down on this ground and came back to win 3-2. That was an amazing performance, but it involved a couple of errors on the part of some of the Pittsburgh defenders. But to beat Pittsburgh, I think you've got to be up against them and then try and defend.
Well, Loudoun failed on that first effort, and they're paying a price now. They have started to gain possession, and we'll see if with that possession they're able to break down Pittsburgh once, maybe get after another. Riverhounds were never content to be middle of the pack. They've turned it on here over the last 13. It was really the loss to Loudoun at the end of June that lit this firework. In goes Jelani Peters.
And one thing we didn't discuss in that start for the halftime was the detailed stats, but if you have a look at it, 11 shots to 2 in favor of Pittsburgh. So Loudoun didn't really affect Vitiello, which we mentioned a few times. On target, 4 for Pittsburgh, 0 for Loudoun. And in terms of chances created, 7 for Pittsburgh, 1 for Loudoun. The one chance, I think, was that thunderous effort by Garay that hit the crossbar. So all the stats point to Pittsburgh creating the opportunities, making them, and eventually scoring from them.
Perez rolls this in front and over the line. Cicerone. Was it Cicerone that got the last touch? Perez is certainly ecstatic. The crowd here too. It is 3-0 in the 75th.
That's a good finish again from Cicerone, almost with his back heel, and Louis Perez with the cross into the box. Cicerone's been finding it almost impossible not to score. So let's have a look at it again. Down that right-hand side, Louis Perez, head up, finds Cicerone. It's hard to see whether it comes off a defender or Cicerone. Let's have a look at it again from this angle as the ball comes in. It takes one deflection. I'm going to give it to Cicerone anyway. But either way, it ends up in the back of the net. It is 3-0 to the Pittsburgh Riverhounds.
Well, that may have taken 3 separate touches on the service. Cicerone's going to get it for now. And then someone in Tampa is going to decide, I would imagine, whether he gets to keep his 14th of the year. Can you believe the year he's had?
Wow.
Staggering.
And he'll be hoping whoever it is in Tampa Bay, makes the right decision, because for him, that could be the difference between finishing second or third in the goal scorers charts at the end of the season. So for Russell Cicerone, big decision coming up. But, you know, he was in the right place at the right time, and that's what his season's been like. Great intelligence on the ball, and he's only 26 years of age, Russell Cicerone. So as long as he keeps himself fit, you would think he's got many, many more years of great soccer ahead of him.
He played 90 games over 4 seasons in Portland, Cincinnati, and St. Louis. He scored 12 goals total.
Wow.
He has 14 this year in 25.
Well, maybe he's found his spiritual home. Maybe he's just reached the peak of his career. The fans they're delighted with it. They're not even worried about the stats. They're just enjoying the game, and the fact that Pittsburgh are comfortable now, it's, you would think, pretty much game, set, and match.
Well, let's say this. Cicerone can probably feel pretty assured. Neither Downs nor Mel want credit for that goal. So at least there's no one competing for the mark. There's the smoke overhead here in Pittsburgh. And it's been a pretty familiar sight tonight. With beautiful skyline behind it. This is arguably the most picturesque view in American soccer in terms of cityscape. Perhaps some of those mountainous terrains in the west all across. That's away by the former Loudoun player Shane Wheat. Downs. Wheat again. Driven over the top. Flag stays down. Cicerone lost the handle, and the goalkeeper comes out, Manel, to tap it away.
That's good goalkeeping, just to wait for that little mistake and pounce on it. So well done to Johnny Manel, the 17-year-old in goals. And Cicerone so close to getting that hat-trick, which he got at home to Atlanta United too, a couple of weeks back. Got a hat-trick then. And Williamson, by the way, the man who's coming on, got the other goal in that 4-1 win.
Abukora is coming in for Loudoun. He's their fifth and final change. Williamson and Dover coming on now for Pittsburgh.
Number 8, Tommy Williamson. And for number 7, Alex Dixon.
Nicky Downs has come off for Loudoun in their one substitution. That's the end of the night for Alex Dixon.
And for number 15, Michael Downs.
See Thomas Williamson in there. First Pittsburgh player to feature for the side who was born after the club was founded.
Oh, wow.
That's
good stat.
That's the point we've gotten to now. Set up for Forbes. Return for Forbes, not meant to be. Bernardo Forbes in the 58th, Wharton in the 20th. And the recent Cicerone goal makes it 3-0 Pittsburgh. Armstrong. Got by Farron. Armstrong pulls this back and tapped over the line. It's Williamson this time. And it is a true party alongside the river in Pittsburgh.
This is what we spoke about, that they might start scoring too many goals, and it's beginning to happen. They've run Loudoun United ragged. The legs are tired, the bodies are tired of the visitors, and Pittsburgh take advantage of that. They keep coming at you incessantly here. Ezra Armstrong with a good run down the left, gets the ball back, and that's a great finish from Williamson. Just come on, nice and fresh, both those players, good substitutions. They've taken advantage of a tiring Loudoun United side, and now they're up 4-0. Tough times for the visitors.
Now the only question is if Sid and Gino are going to score. 4-0, fifth of the year for Williamson.
And we did discuss this just before halftime. If you remember, we spoke about how this constant possession by Pittsburgh was tiring out Loudoun, and how towards the end they might suffer and they might lose their ability to close down. Well, Pittsburgh have punished them, and they've kept the clean sheet so far in the process. It's lesson after lesson here for Loudoun United.
It's all coming apart at the seams. Perez pumps the brakes. Armstrong. Forbes. Forbes! Two splendid goals for Kenardo Forbes. A 5 spot.
Absolutely brilliant finish. What skill this man has. The control of the ball, sticking it in that corner, giving young Johnny Manel in goals, the 17-year-old, absolutely no chance whatsoever. But as you said, punishing Loudoun now, finding space, all too easy for Luis Perez there on the ball. Ezra Armstrong just picking out Forbes. He's got a ton of space to operate it in, and if you give a player that good, that much space, he's going to hurt you.
Wow. 2 on the night for Forbes. He had 1 all season coming in. He does so much for this Riverhounds side that to just get it down to goals is a huge misstatement. Williamson was offside.
Well, I guess if you're a Hounds fan, the only thing missing from this perfect night is 1 more goal for Cicerone so he gets his hat-trick, or maybe 1 more for Conrado Forbes so he gets his hat-trick. Either way, fantastic home performance. Those fans must be delighted with what they've seen and must be excited for what's to come. They've got some tough matches against Charlotte, Charleston, Miami, but also those playoffs. They must be beginning to believe that this could be their season.
Rolled over by Peters and further by Williams. The loneliest man in all of Pittsburgh tonight, Vitiello.
Yep, he hasn't had much to do. And by the way, Cicerone would have to score 2, I guess, to get his hat-trick. So maybe I'm expecting a little too much from him.
Don't count him out.
But yeah, and again, one doesn't want to be too harsh on Loudoun United. They've had a lot of COVID issues, players who couldn't make it. And they've had to rejig their team. But they haven't tested Vitiello at all, except for 1 shot from Jeremy Garay in the first sort of 10-15 minutes. It thundered against the crossbar. That really isn't good enough for a team of quality. And you look at the sort of coup de Pietros and Garay himself and others and think they need to fashion more. They need to find a way to be more impactful.
And there's multiple ways and lenses from which you could look at this. As Smith bouncing off of Williams, Wheat pursues. Wheat won the ball. You're playing in the Atlantic Division. Loudoun outside the division, 2-1-1, a +2 goal difference. If this result holds, it looks like it will. 14 losses and 1 draw, -31 goal difference in the division. They've fared okay elsewhere, but it's in the last 2 games where it feels like it's come apart a bit. They had to travel this morning into Pittsburgh from Virginia. Was kept in at the end line and now will narrowly roll over. Conversely, you look at Monarchs. They started a 15-year-old goalkeeper a couple weeks ago. They've played multiple teams in the past month that themselves would not be able to enter a bar legally. And this is not necessarily the case for Loudoun. There are some really young players learning some really tough lessons. But it's not necessarily the youngest team in the league. Cicerone comes off. Good applause. 14 goals on the year now. And Tom Judge, the loanee from Nashville, comes on to help see this out.
I think it's a very valid point you make about Loudoun United. They've got a lot of 25, 26, 27-year-olds. They're not all kids. Some of these teams we see, development sides, they do have an average age of 17, 18. And then you understand how difficult that must be for them against much more mature players, as we see Cicerone just taking a pat on the back from and a couple of high fives there from the rest of the team. But this is not a young bunch of kids. They should be able to perform better. Kamani Smith at 23 years of age, if he wants to move up a level, 1 goal in 14, now 1 goal in 15 if he doesn't score. That's not good enough. And the talent is there. It's just, and they've taken a few knocks, and we do acknowledge it has been difficult with COVID and all these issues of leaving players out of the side. But still, for Ryan Martin there in shot, he'll want more from these players, and he's got to find a way to get it from them. And they've got to find a way to get it as well. And if they watch the video against this Pittsburgh side of how well they've done, the clean sheet so far, the defense, the fact that Danny Vitiello hasn't had to deal with much, then maybe that's the blueprint that you want to try and copy.
Throw here for Loudoun. It's worth noting, by the way, Cicerone now 14 goals. It ties him with Corey Herzog, who in 2017 had the 6th most goals in a single regular season. 3rd season at 15, should he get there. Syed Ali, Jose Angulo, Nico Brett have had 15-goal seasons for the Riverhounds in the league. And he's making his way up the totem pole here.
Well, he's still got 7 more matches in which he can score a bunch, and then he's into playoffs as well.
Lifted away by Peters.
Sitting with the stats at the moment, 9 shots on target for Riverhounds, 0 on target for Loudoun United. I think that pretty much sums up this match in a way. Loudoun fans will say, well, you know, we had some nice touches here and there, and they did. But at the end of the day, you got beat 5-0. You haven't had a single shot on target. That's not ideal. Something for Ryan Martin to try and turn around in these next few games.
Williams, Bolivar. Trying to sweep through instead. Vitiello. The 2 hands firmly grasping. 100 seconds left before stoppage time. I'll remind you the Riverhounds return home on Saturday, September the 25th, a 7 p.m. matchup against Charleston. Don't forget to check out the new tailgate zone starting a couple hours before kickoff. Music, local food, and beer. Call 412-865-GOAL or visit riverhounds.com to get your tickets.
I'll tell you what, that's a match worth watching because Charleston will come into that, I'm pretty sure, desperate for points. They're now falling behind Charlotte in that fight for the last remaining playoff spot. So when they come here to Highmark Stadium, they're going to come looking for a fight, Charleston. It should be a cracking match.
Abokora trying to break through. Gary, where are you sitting in this stadium? You going to the suites? You going to the supporters section, pitch side, the stands facing out over the city?
I'm behind that goal. I'm behind Vitiello's goal now with those fans jumping up and down. The noisiest fans, I'm assuming they are the noisiest, but that's where I'd like to be because I just love the vibe. I love the energy, the atmosphere, the flag waving. It's just absolutely brilliant. And you, Mike, where would you pick?
Oh, I'm going to the suites.
No, seriously.
And there's food right there. You don't even have to go anywhere.
That's what drives you, the food. Me, it's the atmosphere, the singing, I guess it's the English side of things from going to the grounds, and that's what it's all about, the sing-song and the energy. And here at Highmark Stadium, wow, fantastic fans that they have supporting them.
Paz. Griffin, 2 added minutes here. As of now, the story of the night in Pittsburgh, sports-wise, is the number 5. Across the river, end of 5 innings, Washington and the Pirates level, 5 runs apiece. And here at Highmark, 5-0 Pittsburgh. What I can guarantee is it will not be 5-anything when the Steelers take the field this weekend to kick off the NFL season. I've got a producer suggesting a safety and a field goal. Is it so far-fetched? But
well, here's Vitiello getting into the game. This is it. This is it for him. It's just one long kick up the pitch, and that's his contribution overall. And I guess for Loudoun, you get beat 5-0 back-to-back, 4 or 5 days apart. That's not a happy space to be in.
Well, they'll have to dust themselves off here rather quickly because Loudoun will host Hartford and go away to Miami here over the next 2 weekends in games that will shape the playoff line and then eventually shape the top of the division. Ball across for Williamson. Pittsburgh looking for one last smoke explosion here before this one's done and dusted. Offside flag is up, which in some ways is also a fitting conclusion.
Yeah, I mean, if there's one thing Bob Lilly might look at on the video tomorrow or the next day when they sit down, he might say, look, there's just one or two videos, a little bit of going on here between goalkeeper and Luis Perez. Now there's a shove from Damrot and referee just settling it all. There's only a minute to go in the match, so.
Welcome to the league, big fella. Perez has gone into the book, and Manel showing he can hit at this level.
Good for him. Well done, the goalkeeper, standing up for yourself.
There we go. And for a 17-year-old keeper, you debuted as a pro at 17. You know it. It's going to come with its lumps.
Oh, yeah. I had a few 5-5ers put past me as a young kid. But, you know, as a manager's got to stand by you, let you grow. As long as he sees progress and he sees commitment and guts, which is what we've seen from Johnny Manel tonight.
5-0 Pittsburgh. This is about as emphatic a win as the Riverhounds have had all year. This is now their longest unbeaten streak of the season, 6. 5-0 Pittsburgh over Loudoun on this Saturday, September night.
Yeah, perfect day for Pittsburgh. I was just saying that maybe Bob Lilly will get the video out and look at 1 or 2 offsides and say, guys, get your timing right. But fans are delighted. They've been treated to some lovely soccer. Cicerone will claim the 1 goal. Let's just hope that those in Tampa Bay who make the decisions will give it to him. Bob Lilly's happy. He's kept a clean sheet and scored a ton of goals. It's only the visitors, I guess, who will get back on that bus and no doubt feel a bit sorry for themselves. The second 5-0 hammering is never nice, but there are some positives. Johnny Manel in goals, well done. Don't worry about the 5 goals. You played well. And for the rest of it, Loudoun United got to pick themselves up and get ready for the next game.
Video of the clean sheet. Wharton, Williamson, Cicerone, all tally. Forbes, a pair of good ones. We'll wrap this one up when we return to Highmark Stadium in Pennsylvania.
Summer's over, but the Riverhounds look to stay hot at Highmark Stadium.
That's a rocket from Canardo Forbes.
The Charleston Battery come to town Saturday, September 25th for a 7 p.m. showdown on the banks of the Mon. It's Faith and Family Night, presented once again by K-Love Radio. Come early and check out our new tailgate zone that's open 2 hours before kickoff through halftime. Visit riverhounds.com or talk to a ticket representative at 412-865-GOAL. Pleasant Valley Golf Club, nestled in the Laurel Highlands of southwestern Pennsylvania, is now open to the public. Enjoy 18 holes of championship golf with a new island green and fully stocked pro shop. Our clubhouse features a large ballroom for weddings or private parties, 2 restaurants serving delicious food, a sports bar, 2 state-of-the-art golf simulators, and an outdoor patio with gas fire pit and picturesque view. Pleasant Valley Golf Club, now open to the public.
Dixon still going and scoring!
With the Riverhounds Mini Flex Plan, you get 6 tickets and only pay for 5. Flex plans are 6 vouchers to use any way you want over the 2021 season. Use them all for 1 game or spread them out through the season. With 3 different plans starting at $90, you can choose anywhere in Highmark Stadium to cheer on the Hounds. Visit riverhounds.com/flexbooks or call 412-865-GOAL.
Well, it's a sheepish smile, but a smile nonetheless for Cicerone. The conversation with Bob Lilly and the staff, and it's going to be a happy circle tonight in Pittsburgh. 5-0. Mike Watts, Gary Bailey to wrap this one up. And all the highlights are goals as far as the eye can see. Todd Wharton in the 20th from Williams.
Mikel Williams, good header, and that forces Johnny Manel to make the save, but he can't hold on to it. As mentioned, Todd Wharton follows up.
Skip ahead into the second half as this was, well, tighter than it probably needed to be at halftime. Canardo Forbes breaks this open.
He plays the ball to Cicerone, then he gets into the box. Cicerone with a lovely ball, but what a volley from Canardo Forbes. Absolutely brilliant.
75th minute, Cicerone would get in on the scoring action, we think.
Yeah, ball comes in here and it sort of hits a few people and he drags his foot over it. And I think he makes just enough contact to actually give him the ball. Luis Perez with the ball in. And Cicerone, I think, got the last touch, so we're going to give it to him.
Yeah, Downs doesn't want credit, enough said. Thomas Williamson came on as a substitute, grabbed his 5th of the season in the 80th.
Ezra Armstrong, great run down that left-hand side, and Williamson just sticking a boot out and guiding it into the corner.
And it nearly gotten over the line. That's what Loudoun defenders were asking for, but 2 minutes later, Canardo Forbes, exclamation point.
Oh, what a finish, what a finish. Ezra Armstrong, it's his 2nd assist, only been on about 10 minutes, so he does really well. 2nd goal for Canardo Forbes, just picks his spot. Look at the shots on target. If ever you want a summary of a match, that often tells you 9 shots on target for Pittsburgh, and they got 5 goals, which is a fantastic return from 9 shots. Loudoun, 0.
And for Pittsburgh, is this as close to perfection as you've seen from them this year?
Yep, I would think so. I would think so. Again, you've got to look at the opposition, and I think they will get tougher opposition with all due respect to Loudoun. But yeah, you can't ask for more than to beat the opposition in front of you. They've done it. They've kept a clean sheet. And I think Bob Lilly, I think the fans will all be happy, and they'll be excited for the upcoming games. It's, what is it, Charlotte next, and then Charleston, then Miami? Wow, all three of those are going to be tough.
And then the Rowdies to follow that. Down to 7 more games for Pittsburgh. They'll feel really good tonight. Military appreciation on this September the 11th, and the Riverhounds came out with fireworks galore. 5-0 over Loudoun, and for perhaps the next few seconds, they are top of the Atlantic. For our entire NEP Vista World Link crew, led by producer Dustin Curl, Jim Clark, our director, Jose Altavero, Steffi Aguilera, and our entire team in Pittsburgh. Gary Bailey alongside Mike Watts saying so long from Highmark.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.